We all have a pretty good idea what foods are considered healthy, but the one thing that mostly never crosses anyone's mind is how our food is grown and what remaining byproduct of that process are we consuming. The EPA considers 60% of herbicides and 30% of insecticides possibly cancer-causing. For thousands of years, we have grown our food without any help of these agents. No herbicides, no insecticides. So why are we using them now? Today I'd like to show you how a majority of our crops today are produced, and why is it essential for you to think a little bit more about what you're consuming. There are two major concerns with the way our crops are produced today. GMOs, or in this case, genetically modified plants, and herbicides, which is basically a weed killer. Plants are genetically modified in laboratories to produce a natural resistance to insects and herbicides. In theory, genetically modified plants will produce their own insecticide and will be allowed to be sprayed with herbicide, which will only kill the weeds around them. But how much herbicide do they use? Crops are herbicide tolerant. The problem is weeds are now also becoming tolerant to the herbicide, forming superweeds, which means the farmers have to increase their use of the herbicide. Between 1996 and 2008, U.S. farmers sprayed an additional 383 million pounds of herbicide on genetically modified crops. This not only increases the toxicity of our food, it contaminates the environment through runoff. How safe are genetically modified plants and herbicides? GM plants and herbicides do have many side effects. The American Academy of Environmental Medicines urge doctors to prescribe non-GMO plants to their patients. They cite animal studies have shown organ damage, gastrointestinal and immune disorders, accelerated aging, and infertility. Consuming these products poison our systems. Genes inserted into genetically modified soy have been found in bacteria that live inside us. Toxic insecticides produced by genetically modified corn were found in the blood of pregnant women and their fetuses. Herbicides have been linked to many known health issues. One herbicide called Roundup, or its chemical name glyphosate, is linked with sterility, hormone disruption, birth defects, and cancer. In Argentina, scientists report a high level of birth defects and cancers around the areas which these herbicides are sprayed. And in addition, a scientific team in Sweden found that exposure is a risk factor to non-Hodgkin lymphoma. With these known issues, why use them? Basically, it comes down to one reason, which is the reason why all businesses are in business: money. Genetically engineered seeds and herbicides are huge money makers in the agribusiness. A company named Monsanto controls 70 to 100% of all genetically modified seeds sold in our country. They are the 5th largest manufacturer of herbicide with their product Roundup. In 2006, Monsanto saw a global revenue of $7.3 billion. You might recognize two other large companies, DuPont and Bayer. Bayer being the largest agrochemical company with $7.4 billion in sales in 2007, and DuPont falling just behind Monsanto. Monsanto is not well known like DuPont and Bayer, but you may have heard of other things that they produced: aspartame, sulfuric acid, plastic, PCBs, synthetic fabrics, Agent Orange from Vietnam. They even worked with uranium for the Manhattan Project to help produce our first nuclear weapon. Another large entity that's in favor of genetically modified plants is our own government. The USDA Federal Crop Insurance Corporation is offering significant discounts to farmers that use Monsanto's genetically modified seed. Monsanto's vice president of public policy became a major head of the FDA. WikiLeaks and a nonprofit organization, Food and Water Watch, both released a report stating the U.S. State Department has launched strategies to promote agricultural biotechnology. The FDA does not require a single safety study, does not mandate labeling of GMOs, and allows companies to put their genetically modified foods on the market without even reporting. Farmers using genetically modified seeds get discounts, while organic farmers have to pay. They have to pay certification costs. They have to pay application fees, annual recertification fees, assessment on production and sales, and yearly inspection fees. So what can we do to help stop the use of GMOs and herbicides while limiting our intake on foods? It's quite easy. Be aware of what you're purchasing. Look for organic labels. Look for non-GMO labels. Set aside time and have a game plan as to when and where to buy these foods. You can find them in local markets. You can find them at local farms. And selections are growing at chain stores and online, like Amazon, Giant, ShopRite, Wegmans. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate, GMOs and herbicides are used by companies to increase profits. They have proven negative effects on our bodies, most of which are still unknown, and why we need to be aware of foods we are purchasing for ourselves and for our loved ones. This is becoming such a large controversy that if you wish to gain more knowledge, just look to the internet, and there you will find vast numbers of articles and reports. Remember, only you could change yourself, but all of us together can change the world. So not only change your habits, but pass this information on to friends, acquaintances, and loved ones. Changing now will not only help yourself, but it will help plant a greener path for our future.